everybody, been a little bit, but want to stay consistent with these devlogs and some of the progress that I've made. And specifically this time, I wanted to go over something I learned recently, which is called the hit stop. And hit stop seems to be really cool because I'm able to actually go in and add like much more juice to a character when they're being hit. So I went from having like, oh, that character gets hit, they flinch, to having a much more juicy effect happening where there's three effects that are currently happening right now. So when I hit them, they'll get this flash glow on them showing that they're being hit. Their time will stop for their animation or just them in general. And then after that time stop, it will actually play that flinching animation, which added much more than I actually thought it would to the feeling of the hit of the characters. So in order to get those working, kind of go through what I did, and I did this in C++ because I wanted to kind of keep that fresh in my mind, that with this hit stop, what it's going through doing is it's taking in a few different variables. So how long you want that hit stop to be, the time dilation, which the time dilation is how much you are slowing down or speeding up the character. If you put that to 0, the character will just completely stop, and it'll stop for however long that duration is. And then the shake speed is the effect of it will take the actual skeletal mesh and shift it back and forth to make it look like it's shaking. So it'll take the physical mesh and just go back and forth and oscillate it. Then we have our amplitude, so how far off we want that shake to go back and forth. And then also if we wanted to apply another material to it as well. So the first thing we're doing here is just coming in and setting up the character dilation, which the custom time dilation on your character does exactly like I said before, where it will slow down or speed up your character depending on that time dilation. Now, next thing we're going to do is set up the mesh shake step timer. So this will actually run that apply mesh shake step right here, this function. So this function is going in. We have to make sure there's a world, otherwise you'd break. We go in, kind of get the transform, make sure the player's there too. If the player's not there, it won't work because then we won't have a camera to go off of. Then we're taking the character's position relative to the camera angle that's looking at them. So we're taking that from the player and the camera specifically and getting its right vector. And then we're going through and doing a relative location here. So we're taking the skeletal mesh and then positioning it off to the side and then down here afterwards, shaking -1, so it's going back and doing it again in the negative direction, and it'll just keep multiplying, so it'll shake back and forth and have that wobbly effect to it. I'm also adding a curve in here as well, so that it'll take an animation curve and take your progress divided by the full duration. So you get like a 0 to 1 value and then map it onto the curve to figure out, okay, where on this curve should I be? So we're adding that effect in. And then let's see what else we're doing here. We're also adding in that material where we're coming in and applying it to the mesh as an overlay. So overlay materials you can use, and I'm doing the material instance, just getting the mesh, setting it as the overlay material. But back in Unreal with the characters, let's say this character here, we have, and let me just look up overlay materials. Right now there's nothing set. But if we go to, say, the viewport and put on an overlay material, which right now it's my hit flash material, now it creates an overlay and you can kind of stack materials, which is really nice to put on the overlay material. So those are kind of the effects that are coming in and adding to the overall like flavor or juice to these characters being hit, which feels really nice. And one of the other things that's happening too is it'll take the character, and I'm actually slowing down its time dilation too, so that if we see the character right now, once we hit, it slows down as well, so it gives us more of an impact and feeling like it's actually making an impact because we're getting slowed down from the force. So those are super cool to add in. And just make sure as well, go and hit these guys a few more times. Oh yeah, so it feels way better. So highly recommend learning about hit stats too, because they added a lot to the overall feel of this hit animation.